When you look historically at industrial disasters like this, it is very rare that the public is given accurate information. This is the controlled explosion in East Palestine, Ohio, where a train derailment had caused a chemical spill that was burning uncontrolled. So the party responsible for the spill in the first place was in control of not only cleaning it up, but also the narrative in the media. When you look at the reporting for this disaster, you'll see this a lot. Officials released toxic chemical after Ohio train derailment. It wasn't officials in the sense of government officials, but these are actually people that work for the company that was responsible for the spill in the first place. This is nothing new. When you look at reporting for industrial accidents, going back even like 140 years in the United States, you will see that the media and politicians almost always allow the responsible party to control the narrative, at least for the first part of the disaster. It generally starts this way because the responsible party is the party that knows the most. So the government officials, politicians, they ask what's going on. And often the company, because they are responsible, minimizes the impact and kind of omits details. Often there's just really poor communication inside the organization, so no one knows what's going on. You'll find that looking at reports that examine these types of incidences, politicians and government officials will also often want to avoid creating panic. We saw this at the beginning of the pandemic. The CDC said masks weren't necessary, but they knew that they were, they just didn't want to cause panic. I think this is a very flawed strategy because it usually is weighing the best case scenario of the event, in this case a massive chemical spill that's burning uncontrolled. In this situation, they were weighing that the risk of a panic was greater than the risk of this controlled explosion going unplanned. And the fact is, since it happened over an hour after it was supposed to, I would say it didn't go to plan, especially since they were saying that they were trying to get it done quickly to avoid a weather inversion that did happen shortly after they had their controlled explosion. I also think it's important to look during the press conferences how often they put company employees up, and it's never going to be executives. This guy, Scott Deutsch, who was introduced as the hazmat manager for the region, if history is any example, he probably won't be working for Norfolk Southern soon. I also think you should pay attention when government agencies and politicians say, we're being told that everything looks okay. They're pushing the responsibility for communicating you accurate information onto someone else. Look, I don't think anyone actually knows what's going to happen because there are so many variables. But I also think if you look at reporting, journalists are not really asking questions and just taking their word for it. I think that should always be suspicious.